So we're finished talking about the difference between a relation and a function. I think we've gotten that down now. And we're ready to move forward into talking about the domain and range of relations and functions. So first we need to get through some vocabulary. I think these words should be familiar to you. The domain of a relation is the set of all possible values for x, which is the input variable of a relation. We don't always use x, but for most times that's what we use. Okay, if you think about an ordered pair, we think x comma y, where x is the first coordinate, y is the second coordinate, x is the input, it's what we put into a function, and y is the output. It could be a function or a relation. But anyway, domain is the set of all possible values for x. Range is the set of all possible values for y, which is the output variable of a relation. Okay, so domain range x, y is what you want to think of. Okay, if we have a discrete relation, it's just a set of ordered pairs. It ends up looking like a scatter plot. It's just a bunch of ordered pairs that are not connected. A continuous function or a continuous relation is a nice smooth line or curve without any breaks, gaps, or holes. All the points are connected. Okay, I know you've heard domain and range before, the x's and y's. You might not be as familiar with the word discrete and continuous. Okay, so think about a discrete relation is just a set of ordered pairs that looks like a bunch of dots or a scatter plot. A continuous relation or function is a line or curve without breaks, gaps, or holes. Okay, so as we go through the lesson, I just want to make sure you have these words down, okay, in your vocabulary. If you have to pause this screen so that you can write it all down, please do that. Okay, domain, range, discrete, and continuous. All right, let's look at this first example. These are some discrete relations. And I just want you to look at these and figure out the domain and range. Okay, and then decide, is it a function or not? Okay, we're already telling you it's a relation, but is it a function as well? So right here, we have a set of ordered pairs. They're asking us to give the domain and range as sets of numbers in order from least to greatest. You don't always have to do that. I'm probably not going to mark it wrong if it's not from least to greatest, but it helps if maybe we list the x coordinates from smallest to biggest. So the smallest x coordinate is 0. The next biggest x coordinate is 1. And then we have a 2 and a 3. Those are our 4 x coordinates, right? 0, 1, 2, and 3. Our y coordinates, or our range, from smallest to biggest, let's see, we have 1, -1, 1, -1. So when I'm listing the range, it's saying what are the y coordinates? I don't have to list them twice, okay? I'm listing the y coordinates, -1 and 1. All right, I don't have to list -1, 1, and also -1, 1. That would be kind of redundant, right? Now, it's a function if there aren't repeated x's. So let's look. I have 2, 3, 0, and 1. So is this a function? Absolutely. Okay. Go ahead and pause me and you figure out what you think letter B is, what the domain, range, and function is, so that you can try it first before I go on and explain it. Okay? So go ahead and hit the pause button. Okay, now that you're back, the domain, the set of x's, let's see, I have 2, 3, 0, and 2. So if I'm supposed to go in order from smallest to biggest, I'll say I have 0, 2, and 3. The range are the y coordinates. The y coordinates are 1, 2, 3, and -1. I'm supposed to put them in order from least to greatest, so I'll go -1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay. Function. What do you think? Is this a function? Yes or no? Let's look at the at the x coordinates and see if we have any repeats. 2 is mapped to 1. 3 is mapped to 2. 0 is mapped to 3. Oh, and then 2 is mapped to -1 when it was already mapped to 1. It's not a function. Okay, we can't have an x value going to 2 different y's. Let's look at letter C. Well, this is different. It's not listing the ordered pairs. I have to think of what the ordered pairs are. Okay, the x coordinates, I can find them right here. They correspond to the dots. Okay, it looks like it's -2, 0, 1, and 2. I'm just kind of, oops, sorry. Let me erase that. Sometimes my pen takes on a life of its own. -2, 0, 1, and 2. Those are the x coordinates. Okay. If I would list these, just, if you like them listed that way, I could always write the ordered pairs if that helps. The x coordinate here for this first point, that's -2, 1. And then here was 0, 1. The next one was 1, -3. And the next one was 2, 0. So you see, I just went with the x coordinates and said -2, 0, 1, and 2. For the range, I'm going to go with the y coordinates. So I might just look here at the y-axis and see where points are. -3, which I can see there. The next one is 0, right? And then I have 2 1s, right? -3, 0. And then I'm not going to write the 1 twice. It's -3, 0, and 1. Okay, is this a function? Well, I don't have any repeated x's. That's fine to have a repeated y. That's great. My repeated x's, I'm not worried. That's the thing I'm worried about. I can't have a repeated x. So yes, this is a function because my x's are all different. -2, 0, 1, -3. Same thing here with this last one. Again, you can please feel free to pause me so that you can, kind of figure them out yourself. But looking at the x coordinates, it looks like for the x coordinates, I have a -3, I have a 0, and then I have a 1. The y coordinates, looks like I have a -3, -1, a 1, and a 2. When I look at my x coordinates, it looks like I can tell from the vertical line test, if I would drop a vertical line down, I'm going to hit twice, right? 1 is mapped to 2. 1 is also mapped to -3. Okay, 1 is mapped to 2. 1 is also mapped to -3. So is this a function? Absolutely not. Okay, I have the same x going to 2 different y's, and that is not a function. Okay, so then here's some other functions. These are nice continuous functions, right? There's no holes or gaps. Well, there's a hole here because they're bounded at either end. Okay, these are called continuous bounded relations. All right, these aren't all functions. That first one, as you can see, letter A. Nice thing about graphs, guys, I love graphs because I can just tell right away this is not a function. When I draw a straight vertical line through it, hits it twice. Nope, not a function. I can write that right away. Okay? If I'm asking for the domain and range, well, I'm not going to list them all. Okay? I can see that looks like the smallest x coordinate that I have here is -1, all right? And then the biggest x coordinate looks like it's 3. So my domain oops. Sorry. My domain goes from -1 to 3. My smallest x value is -1. My biggest x value is 3. Do you guys see that? -1 to 3. As far as my y's, I'm not going to list them all, but it looks like the smallest y value is -2, and the biggest y value is 4. Okay, there's y values for everything in between. Okay, y values for everything in between -2 and 4. The next one is a function. Okay, a vertical line is never going to hit that more than once. So it is a function. That's great. The domain, I'm looking at the x of, the smallest x up to the biggest x. So it looks like it goes from -5 to 1. Notice where I put my less than and where I put my less than or equal to. Where there's an open circle, I put less than. It's not equal to -5. Okay, x is bigger than -5. X is greater than -5, but it's less than or equal to 1 because that's shaded in. When I look at my y coordinates, it looks like the smallest y, let's see, what is this point? -5 comma 0. My smallest y is 0, but I don't really include 0 because that's open. My biggest y looks like it's 3. So my domain is anything between -5 and 1. My range is anything between 0 and 3. Okay? Look at this next one. I would argue that's a function, right? Do you see that it's a function? Okay. So a vertical line is not going to hit it more than once. Any vertical line I drop. The domain looks like the smallest x is -2 and then up to 2. I put less than or equal to here because that's closed. -2 is included, but the open circle at 2 is not included, so I don't put the equal to. The range, what's this value of y? The smallest value of y is -3. And the biggest value of y looks like it goes up to 5. Okay? Is it a function? Yes. Okay? Vertical line doesn't hit it more than once. All righty. So let's try this one. Let's see. We have domain, looking at the x's, -2, -1. See, x that goes with it is 0, right? It's 0, 2, and 3. The range, we're looking at the y's. It looks like -2 is my smallest y, 0, and 2. Okay, so let's see. The domain, yep. We got the -2, which is right here, -2 with this. We got the -1, we got the 0, and we got the 3. The range, we got the -2, which is the y. 0 is these 2 points, and 2. There's no vertical line that's going to hit this more than once. Okay, so great. Yes, it's a function. Okay. And we'll continue this with the next one.